couple minutes after 4, I think, so we will get started. I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome to our November Southeast Tech meeting. We have nobody, I believe, speaking to the board today. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the meeting held on October 4th, please? So moved. Okay. A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Can I get a motion and a second to approve today's agenda?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. That is approved. No conflicts of interest. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, please?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is approved. We will start with the reports of the president.
Good afternoon, President Ryder, members of the board. My name is Kristen Posale. I'm the Dean of Curriculum Instruction for the Health Division. So I've been asked to give an update on the simulation center that we're in the process of renovating. So the picture you see is a picture of the Zeal building as it was before we took possession of the building. And this is the art, the rendition, and actually it looks a lot like this. I was there today, and there's a lot more blue on it than this, but this is what it will, the signage will say when it opens in January. So we've had one of the things that we were asked to do as this project went forward was to give updates to stakeholders. So this project came about through a collaboration with the City of Sioux Falls, Forward Sioux Falls, the Chamber, State of South Dakota, there in Sanford. So we were asked to give updates to those stakeholders. We've had several group tours for these entities as the fall has progressed. So members from the Chamber and the Development Foundation came. We had some members from Sioux Falls School District, Sanford Health, and Avera Health. We'd also have other various groups that we have shown the building to who wanted to see its progress as we went. So we have several programs that are going to move completely over to the simulation center. We are scheduled to take possession of the building January 1st, and we're on schedule with that. We have moving plans, we have office plans going into place, and we won't be teaching classes the first week of the semester because there's a lot of new equipment that teachers will need training on and that kind of stuff. But we have a lot of things in place for us to get it up and running as soon as possible. So our Surge Tech program, which is a 2-year associate degree, that program is moving over there. They have 4 beautiful operating rooms, a large lab space. We're getting a sterilization room with a sterilizer in there, and that will be an amazing, it will really transform how they teach the Surge Tech because of the space that they will have. We have a medical laboratory technician program starting in January. That's a 2-year associate program. They will have 2 large labs downstairs with a large prep room in between, and so that building, those labs will be completely housed in that building. Invasive cardiovascular, which is where they learn how to be cardiac cath techs, that is moving over there. They have a beautiful new lab space with a viewing room, a control room, and so that teacher will be over there. And when I say programs are moving over there, a lot of the lectures will still take place in the health center because we only have 3 lecture rooms in this sim center. It was designed to be a lab space and clinical space, so a lot of the lectures will still take place elsewhere. We have several large lab spaces for the LPN and nursing labs that can also be used for other programs as labs too. They have shared spaces. The nursing labs don't use labs very often during the year, but beautiful new labs with private rooms for checkoffs and a lot more space than our current LPN lab has. So they will be able to expand there. We have 5 beautiful simulation rooms upstairs with viewing rooms in between. We set it up, it's really like a mini hospital in there. So we have hospital rooms, and then in between the rooms are viewing rooms that teachers can see either side with the one-way mirrors, a large nurses station area, and then we have 4 debriefing rooms in the building that will be able to view. They can view concurrently while things are going on. They can watch recordings of it throughout the whole system, the whole building. We have a camera system that they will be able to utilize in the other labs as well. So teachers can watch things either virtually, students can watch things virtually, so the technology will be amazing. We also have a large emergency department area with a large trauma simulation room. So there are exam bays in there, private consult rooms. When you walk in, it really does look like an emergency room. And we anticipate that we'll be able to use that for a lot of our interprofessional activities. So they pretty much gutted a lot of the buildings. So the picture on the left was when there were no sim rooms whatsoever. The picture on the right I just took last week, and in each simulation room we're gonna have cupboards that they call pass-throughs, where in the hallway outside they can load all the supplies and then just push it through to the room so that the patient won't be disturbed by any of that activity. And then that's a viewing room that they're looking into there. So all of these rooms are really going to be beautiful, state-of-the-art. So the nurses station, I just took this big nurses station. But we could have up to 40 students at a time who are in simulation. So behind all these rooms, there's a big hallway that students can be in working as well, with built-in tables and those kind of things. So there won't be a mass of 40 people in the nurses station at one time. But it will have furniture that looks like a nurses station and that kind of thing. So our emergency department on the left is when they had gutted the space. On the right is what it looks like now. They'll be putting counters in there. That's the nurse's desk area in there, and exam rooms, and then bays where they can examine patients and things like that. So it's going to be great. So we enlarged the commons area downstairs. Upstairs it's going to be a nice open commons area up there. Downstairs, they took out a few walls and opened up the area, so we'll have some nice furniture down there with booths and that kind of thing for students to study. Upstairs, we have quite a few private study areas that students can utilize, because health students, as we know, they're often a little stressed and anxious about studying, so they like that quiet space. So we have furniture coming, hopefully on time, and Deb, I have to mention Deb Letcher and Jackie Kramer, they're the associate deans, and the 3 of us really have worked on this together to plan all of this and pick the furniture and make it inviting for students. And so these are the drawings that we got from the furniture company. It's scheduled to be here on time, we hope. So we hope that it's going to be a nice, inviting area. And here are a few of us at work. We like to go over there. We always get to put on hard hats. Lots of STC employees have been through the building, and just to generate excitement. And I was just there this morning, and it's looking great. So we have other health programs that are going to stay or start in the current building. So medical billing and coding, respiratory therapy is a new program starting in January. And they will be taking over some of the space from the invasive cardiovascular program. So the 3 sonography programs are staying there. Community health care worker, behavioral mental health technician is also starting in January, and that is mostly theory, so that will stay housed in the health center. And then nursing will be in both buildings. So our CNA course is actually going to stay in the Sullivan Center. Still going to be utilizing simulation in our current building. Our phlebotomy program, the certificate, medical assistant, allied health certificate, and health corps. And then we're starting the NDT, which has been on hold for a couple of years. We're restarting that in fall of '24. Any questions for me?
With the additional programs, is there going to be additional build to Build Dakota scholarships implemented?
Well, so the two, respiratory therapy and medical lab tech, are Build Dakota programs already, so that will be helpful. As far as the number of scholarships, that is dependent on how many apply, and, so like if we increase enrollment, which we plan to do in the future for some of these programs, then the number of scholarships would go up for those programs, we hope. That part of it, I could ask Megan about that. As far as how they increase the number of scholarships, a lot of that is based on state funding and then sponsors, the scholarships being sponsored by outside.
Yeah, I've just encountered a lot of students really excited about, especially the behavioral mental health
Yes.
one, and they're like, I don't know how to pay for school, and I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe they'll
Yeah.
get a scholarship.
Is that a Build Dakota? Right, we do have scholarships available for that one, yeah. Yes, that has been very supported. In fact, it was started based on industry requests. And so we do have scholarships available for that. And then there's a process to have that added as a Build Dakota process, scholarship program. So we would be pursuing that. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Anybody else? Any comments or questions? I know we had talked just kind of in passing, I think it was last month, about trying to get some of us out there
Yes.
too. So whenever
Yeah.
you have a group that you have an extra 1 or 2 spaces
Right.
for, just let us know. 'Cause
Okay.
We would love to
Yeah.
see it firsthand.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
um,
I'd love to show it to you.
yeah, when I think about, I graduated from nursing school in 2010. So I think back to like my simulation experiences, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to
Right.
feel like you were actually in a hospital
Yeah.
versus in, bed, where it doesn't, yes, you get your simulation experience, but you can hear the people behind you who, did whatever they did wrong and they're laughing and, things like that. So I think it'd be really nice to be able to go into an actual room and
Yes.
kind of close the door and feel like and then I just feel like the simulation equipment has advanced so
Yes.
much that it's so real.
Yes.
That having those viewing rooms and not having an instructor that's standing there to kind of give you that maybe false confidence or make you make those decisions on your own is so important too, to be able to have them removed, but still available so that if you had questions or they can actually see what would you do in this scenario and kind of provide that real time
Yeah.
feedback. So super exciting. And I could see maybe even like the behavioral health, there might be an option in that, some of those people might be constant observers or they might be in other roles in the hospital where they would benefit from being in the facility as well and just kind of getting to know like what are some of the hazards of these patients and how can I be aware of what some of those risk factors might be in a room like that. So
Yes.
really so many different options and so many different programs that will benefit. And really, I think regionally, I think people are really looking and saying, what is going on in Sioux Falls and how can we get something like that here? So it'll be a great draw. And I think you'll be
Right.
very positively encouraged by the enrollment numbers
Mhm.
as people get into that building and start hearing about
Yeah.
what's going on. So
Yeah, Deb Letcher has been working a lot on a course for interprofessional collaboration, and that's one of our plans soon is to have some of these activities where all programs are involved. So if we have somebody who is having the behavioral mental health issues, if we need law enforcement to come in, we have that, and our ORs, they're getting mannequins that you can actually operate on that have fake body fluid in them. And so we will have suction machines and basically it's really going to be like real life.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
awesome.
very exciting. We are very grateful for this. For this gift. It's an amazing facility and we look forward to how we can use it.
Yeah. Well, thank you I know the three of you have had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So I know you're winding down to like the final.
Right,
So hopefully
right.
come, maybe February, maybe March, you'll be
Yeah.
able to take a really big, deep breath and go, wow, look what we did.
Right,
look at all the
right.
things that we got put into place.
Yeah,
So,
it's very exciting. And Deb and Jackie have worked really hard to build the team so that we keep working as a team even when we're in two different buildings, which will be a challenge. But for the students to not operate in a vacuum, when you are doing an ultrasound, you may have to do it in the emergency trauma room.
Yep.
And we want them to be able to have those experiences.
Yep.
So it's really going to be
Awesome.
exciting.
yeah, can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the update. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Can I get a motion in a second to acknowledge the academic report update for the simulation lab? So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is approved. Thanks again.
Good afternoon, President Ryder and members of the board. My name is Dr. Suzanne Heising, and I'm honored to share an update from the Academic Resource Center. I just want to remind you that the center is a student resource center fully funded by the foundation and generous donations from agencies like the Marsh McLennan Agency and the First Bank and Trust Agency. So to be able to tell our students that it's 100% free really makes a difference. And so I'm excited to share a little bit about what the center looks like. I am now the full-time coordinator, which I think, not because it's me, but because a full-time person is in this seat, has really made a difference. So we have created new success outcomes for the center. One is to improve student usage, and I'll share with you how we're seeing some excellent results already. To strengthen the quality of our tutors through professional development and ongoing training. To strengthen the quality of the academic support, and then also to advance awareness for our English language learners or our multilingual students. We also know that we are able to create individualized student tutoring for an experience with our students because we have a bigger pool of tutors. Right now, to date, I have 19 tutors, 10 are professional. I just want to say the Sioux Falls schools have really given us a whole lot of retired teachers. I made one phone call and I got a bazillion emails, so that was amazing. And these teachers are rock stars, so I appreciate the retired teachers that are coming. I have 4 online professional tutors and 6 peer tutors as of this morning. The strength of the quality of our tutoring is coming from the QR codes that we are now using for intake, for sign-ins, and for sign-outs. Before, we just used manual paper and pencil. People forgot to sign in and sign out. And we've been very intentional with the information that we're asking during this time. And so I'm proud to say that we've been able to target and individualize the type of tutoring based on the students' needs and the patterns that we're seeing from this kind of data. We, as of September, had 163 tutoring sessions. I'm proud to say that through October, I just ran the numbers on Monday, we're up to 269. Year to date, we have had 2,069 students stop and pass in through the ARC. That is tremendous. Last year at this time, we had 634 touch points. So again, being consistent, being intentional, making sure that we have the tutors that can fulfill the needs of the students has really turned the ARC into something that maybe was seen as punitive into a real resource and a community that students can feel comfortable coming to. We also know that we're seeing increased engagement through access by having support in every building. The only place I don't have it right now is by the hub, by the grill, but students don't seem to want to really participate in tutoring over there. They just want to eat. So as of October, we have 9 different places that the students can stop. And I love to say that not only is this student-led, but this is also faculty-led as well. So if faculty can collaborate with us, email us and say, hey, Suzanne, can we get somebody over for vet tech during these specific times after kennel cleaning? Who can you have over there and things like that. So we've been very intentional with how we're getting the tutors and when we're getting the tutors there as well. We also are seeing the strengthening in the quality of the academic supports. And as of September, these were our top 10 services. As you look through them, it's because of the QR codes and the data that we're able to say and see where we need to really fine tune those tutoring sessions. We do see a number of students come just for study hall, but study hall also includes clarifying, also building confidence, also just taking that time out to check in with the student and say, is there anything that we can add, we can clarify for you? And a lot of times it's just that you can do it. We're realizing with our first gen students and also with some of our multilingual students that they really don't have a safe space or a study environment, maybe at home. And so they're finding that the different places in the ARC are comfortable for them. And so study hall really has turned into community building as well. One of the things that I love about Southeast Tech as a community is the collaboration going on with faculty support. So faculty-led intentional study tables. And there's some currency to that. We're seeing that more and more faculty members are saying, hey, if you stop by that study table and just at least check it out, then maybe we'll give you a couple points toward that participation grade. Once a student stops by, they realize, again, this isn't punitive, that this is a lot of, there are a lot of transferable skills that can be learned at this time. I love that we see a lot of non-traditional students in the beginning at these study tables. My favorite story is with a couple of scary welding guys that came in and they were like, oh, I don't know how to use the calculator and I don't know. And it was just a great night because I forgot how to use the calculator too. And so again, that great, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But again, like just reinforcing that we all need that review. And so we also know that we've got that good data information. And so faculty will ask me on Fridays, hey, Suzanne, can you filter the reports from the ARC and let me know who stopped in from my courses and what they worked on? And that has been really good information for review for our faculty as well. And then finally, we've created some workshops for supports when we're noticing post-COVID gaps in foundational knowledge, right? And also those good refreshers as well. All new in the ARC, we've created and found out that our English language learners and our non-native speakers really needed a survival language, right, for academic success crash course. So we created some lunch and learn workshops where they bring their lunch, we provide the learning. I steal a lot of food at this time, and it really is a great way to build community again. My Tech 101, specifically for non-native speakers, looks very different than that refresher or that maybe basic, My Tech 101 for a traditional student that knows how to use the technology and the platform already. We also created some math refreshers, some basics, even though admissions is so good at creating a jump start for our students, we still have students come in asking those really basic questions, especially from the school district where they're leaving that Google Classroom and moving into MS 365. And then finally, we've created a really cool breakfast club. We noticed that we've got so many working moms dropping off their children early. Then they come over to school at 7 a.m., most of them in the health programs, and they are just looking for a place to get ready for the day. So I decided we had enough local coffee places that I just stop by and say, hey, can I get a 5-pound bag of coffee? They look at me funny. Then I explained the program. And we are seeing really important statistic. In 5 weeks, we've already gone through 457 cups of coffee. That's a lot of coffee for a new program. And I already have 9 months of sponsored coffee from our local coffee shop. So I just think that that's really cool. We do have brain breaks for students so that they can come in and they can color. And we actually have one room with they get to pick whatever music that they want. And we also have incredible new study sections and study rooms for students so that they can access whatever they need, wherever they need. And then finally, my background is in English language learning, and I couldn't get away from the from the data saying that we really needed to build awareness and support for our English language learners. So hopefully, as we get together with leadership, we are going to talk about piloting a pre-English for academic courses where students can come in as non-native speakers, or maybe they just need a refresher with those academic language vocabulary to help them feel confident when they walk in our doors. Also, those good lunch and learns for targeted support. And we are creating with our general ed advisory group word lists and workshops for challenging material. So at least there's pre-vocabulary for those gen ed English and math classes, and hopefully we'll be adding some more to that. And so the ARC really is becoming a resource hub for everyone. And again, it doesn't seem like it's punitive anymore. It's a place where I know that I feel safe and comfortable, where I can ask any question, and we're going to try to find the answer for you. So, thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
What languages have you encountered? Is there like
Yeah, so that's so cool that you just asked that, because I just found this out. It's a trivia question for our campus tour. Right now we're 12 languages.
Wow.
And so, so I collaborated with our access and workforce coordinator, and we sat down and I said, hey, these are some of the languages that I'm seeing. Are there any others that you're encountering? So we're up to 12. I do have to say that Spanish would be, very high up there. Good news is I kind of speak Spanish, and so we really don't have a problem with that. And I really love how no one has to feel that they're different just because they speak a different language. Always saying to our students that multiple languages just increase your world. And so I love that for our students. And so for them to hear that and know, hey, how do you say that in your language? I mean, we're practicing, right now we're practicing like 4 or 5 different languages. I think Tagali and Taiwanese are my 2 favorites right now. They're like, Suzanne, don't even try.
I'm just curious if it'll start to be reflective of what our school district has, and as you start to grow and evolve too, that would be really neat data to see
Definitely,
increase.
for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Member Johnson, I use your Overstepping Poverty podcast in 2 of my courses that I teach. So
I would love to sit in on that. I would love to unpack
So
that one. That's a long episode.
it was a long episode. Yeah. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very much for the update. I think it's, you have so many amazing things going on. And like you said, it really is the resource center. It's not a punitive. It's not a, you need to go get help. It's a, we have an opportunity for you to really grow. And just based on your numbers, I love the tracking, because that really is going to help you to be able to direct those resources to the right places. And as you get into your languages, I think it would be really empowering for those students to be able to help create some of those materials, to say, here are the things that I struggle with. Here's the words I'm using. Like, what do I need to know differently? So I think even kind of trying to get those students who have some of those challenges, once you figure out some of those specific things, helping to create resources that might be beneficial.
I love
for
that. Thank
some
you.
of their peers too might be helpful. But yeah. Just every time we get an update on something, I just feel like it's such a welcoming and such an encouraging environment out there for all of our students, that I'm just very grateful for that. So thank you so much for your information today.
Thanks.
Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the update for the Academic Resource Center?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged. Next, service to communities. There is it. Oh no. It's up here.
All right. Well, good afternoon, President Ryder and members of the board. My name is Kristen Wellnitz, and my primary role at Southeast Tech is to serve as a psychology instructor. However, in addition, I have taken on an active role in civic engagement coordination on our campus. This past week, Southeast Tech had the opportunity to celebrate Service to Community Days, or what we call STC Days. This event is carried out campus-wide each year for 1 week at the end of October during the fall semester and for the entire month of April during the spring semester. During the fall, our focus is community service, and in the spring, we shift more to the direction of civic engagement. Therefore, last week we focused on 4 organizations that we, campus-wide, could provide various forms of community service to. Program areas and courses have also been reaching out to other community organizations on their own for service experiences throughout the semester as well. In addition to serving others in the community, currently taking place on our campus is the Student Government Association and Service to Community coordinated efforts on ABC, or Adding Back to Community Drive. Throughout this, students and employees can bring in hygiene items, non-perishable food, and cleaning supplies that will be distributed to other students on our campus who are in need, as well as pet supplies for the Humane Society and winter weather items for Project Warm Up. The ABC Drive will conclude next week. So here's a brief recap of the events that occurred both last week and since we've kicked off our fall semester. Show you some slides here with some data. Monday, we were at Feeding South Dakota. A lot of peanuts packed. And they also noted that we were not off at all. I guess the food boxes they have to weigh, and they do random samples. And the report said we did not miss a weight at all. So that was cool. We had 3 different groups that went through there with approximately 20 students and employees each one. All right, Tuesday we went to St. Francis House in the afternoon, and they had piles upon piles of winter weather gear that had been donated for the Keeping Pillowland Warm winter weather drive that they had. And so first we helped organize everything by size, and then we helped them pull orders. Wednesday we were at the Bishop Dudley House, the Bishop Dudley Hospitality House. With this, we had 3 different sessions as well. We were preparing the meal and making some various snacks all morning, but then we also had a group that went out and did community cleanup kind of around the facility and the neighboring blocks. We had some really good cleanup. Our cleanup crew was really good. Megan Fisher over there. Griggs, all sorts of good workers. Thursday, we participated in the Center for Active Generation. They have the Rake the Town through Workers on Wheels, and so we had signed up for, I think, 4 houses. Then they called if we could take like a yard and a half more, which we said yes to. But the amazing thing was our students were so efficient. We'd have like 20 students, and they'd rake an entire yard like knee deep in leaves in like 25 minutes. So at one point, another instructor and I went up and down the block, and like we saw a house with a wheelchair ramp, and we asked the gentleman, we just knocked on his door and we're like, hey, can we rake these for you? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, we'd really just like to bless you. We won't charge you any money. Like, we're just here to keep we want our students to have some service opportunities. And he's like, how much? And I'm like, no money. We want nothing. He's like, oh yeah. So that was pretty cool. And so we were just catching people and raking with those. And it was a very rainy evening beforehand. And I got to the first job location. It rained all the way into Sioux Falls. It was pouring. I got to the first job location. It stopped raining. We did a couple houses. It rained while we had our little early lunch break. By the time students arrived at the next group, we were constantly moving over the city. It had stopped raining again, and it poured on my way back home. So it was amazing. We got 94 bags of wet leaves, and I'm telling you, I couldn't even lift them. I was like kicking them off the trailer. So. And so just from last week, these are our stats. We had 223 volunteers. Now, there may have been a few duplicates, but people that signed in at every job site is what we try to have. So a nice showing of both employees and students for like over 340 hours. And then this is some of the stuff that's been taking place as well throughout the semester. So not everyone participated the exact week, but others had different events lined up throughout the semester. So we had our nursing faculty helping prepare for ZUBU, so that was awesome. Our English classes actually wrote letters of encouragement to a program called Lunches Served, and they provide bagged meals for, I think, lower income individuals who go to work but maybe don't have a meal to take with them. So the classes themselves, I think there were 6 classes that wrote, quite a few letters, and then 7 or 8 students, like from an evening class, went and packed the lunches, and they packed over 200 lunches in an hour, so. I had a group of students that came for an evening class. We went to the Ronald McDonald House and inventoried their pantry, which was very interesting just because I had no idea they had that much food stored up, but that was a really cool thing we could help them with. And we packed snacks and did some cleaning for them. The business program was at St. Francis House at a different time than the Teleland warm-up donations. And so they made lunches, packed Halloween candy, worked on some various items for them, and I think they rolled several classes through there during the day too. Another business capstone course went to the Humane Society, and they're part of their report said they played with kitties, but I think they also cleaned, and they had made tie blankets in advance that they brought out there for some of the animals, and then also helped with some Halloween preparations. And then we had lots of blood pressure screenings that were done, so that was awesome. Some of our nursing students and faculty, as well as medical assistant students and faculty. They also, I believe it's the medical assistant students, do a lot of service work at the Health Connect Fair that is held. And then Bugapalooza was our Hort students helped out at that, and it was talking about the benefits of monarchs, I think is what the report said, so very cool. This is some of the flyers we have out for our ABC drive right now, so getting lots of donations for that, which is really cool. We'll distribute those to campus. If we have extras, sometimes they share those with facilities in need in the community. And then the pet supplies will be taken to the Humane Society. And then we're also working with Bundle Up Sioux Falls, I think it's called, where they like hang the gloves on the trees downtown, so students can donate gently used weather gear or new weather gear for your extremities. So, and so in total, 1,205 service hours, and that's just the recorded hours. So I know there's probably a few projects that have been done as well that have not yet been documented. So pretty cool that people have given up so much time, and then all of the lives that they've touched that they probably don't even realize. So that is all I have. Do you have any questions?
Anybody? Questions or comments?
Nice work.
Yeah. Great work.
It's all part of the educational experience, right? You know, giving back to your community that you are living in or a student in, and it's just amazing that we have these opportunities for our students. So thank you.
They really enjoy them, so it's fun to take them out in the community to do that. Thank you very much.
I was just going to add, I think, sometimes we see, whether it's an advertisement or we might walk through a store, like the Kellerland coats, for example, like how many times have we walked by that and not really understood, like, what happens when they come and get that box? Like, it's not like they just set the box out and the people come and rummage through it, but you don't really think about the time and the hours that go into that. And so I think that's really cool for students and even for us to think about, like, what's that next step? Like, it's not that easy, and it requires somebody. And if it's an organization that has to pay somebody, then that's taking away from resources that they would have had to help somebody else. So I think that's valuable. And then I just love the variety. I mean, you had things that were in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night. So students could really choose what's going to work for me. They had inside and outside. So if you're not a kind of a fair weather fan, you didn't want to rake in the rain, you had other options. And then even, there's ways for people to donate time if that's what they have, but then there's also ways for people to donate money if that's how they can contribute. And I think when we think about mental health and we think about supporting each other, everyone feels good when they are able to give something back and see the response that they get from other people. And so just a kind of just an easy way, but something to really encourage people to have that community and to care for other people, which then makes them maybe want to care more for themselves and take care of each other too. So just really good experiences. And I love that you're not just taking care of the community, but you also have the Southeast community where you're doing your ABC. And so you might go out and see the people at the Bishop Dudley, or you might see people at St. Francis, but those aren't the only people in our community that are struggling. It might be the person that's sitting next to you in class. And so knowing that you can really make a difference in all of those locations is empowering for people too. So thank you very much. I know you personally, your hours are probably not included in that 1,205. But I know that you have spent a lot of time organizing that. So thank you very much for your leadership on getting students involved. And that is a huge impact that you were part of making too. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the Service to Community Days report, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged. Thank you.
Good afternoon, President Ryder, members of the board. I just have to comment on the previous reports. That is so impressive. I mean, I hear about all of these things every day in terms of the work at the Sim Center and the great things that are happening with ARC. And Kristen has put in so many hours totally in terms of the leadership that she's taken on, and that's the only reason it's happening. I think she's really capitalized on the willingness and generosity of our faculty and staff to participate and give back. So I just want to thank all of them. That's just outstanding in terms of the work that's going on there on campus. It's very impressive to hear that. So
We agree.
I have been asked to provide you with an update on 3 strategic priorities that were identified by the State Board of Technical Education this summer, the first of which is an attainment priority. And so Nick Wendell, the executive director of the Board of Technical Education, was on our campus, and we talked a bit at the startup of the fall semester about an objective that the State Tech Board has established and would like to bring forward, and that is to increase the number of graduates and certificate completers at all 4 of the technical colleges. This past year, we had just over 2,200 completers in terms of those students that received a certificate, diploma, or AAS degree among all 4 of the campuses. And the goal that the State Tech Board would like to see us reach is 3,000 completers by 2030. And so at the October board meeting, each of the campuses were tasked with the responsibility to bring forward a plan as to how that campus might help the system achieve that objective of 3,000 completers. And for Southeast Tech, historically, we have provided about 32% of all of the graduates out of the state technical board system. And so we have, going forward, some work that was done in a number of different areas, and I want to thank several different individuals. Jackie Palmer is right in our first row, the Director of Institutional Excellence and Associate Dean of Faculty Development. Also, Christy Vorthrams, the Associate VP of Institutional Research and Registrar. She is not here. All the academic deans that were here, Dr. Valdez, all of them were heavily involved in helping Southeast put together an attainment analysis. And I will just give you a brief overview of many, many hours of work that went into that. The first portion of which was the individual program review that was conducted by the deans, We also looked at and worked to identify some opportunity populations, those that we feel provide additional opportunities, such as students that may have some credit but no degree. How do we reach out to those students in the community and bring them to Southeast Tech? Also looking as part of the solution to reach 3,000 at new programs and partnerships. Kristen, Dean Paseo mentioned the 3 new programs that are starting in January, but looking forward now over the next several years, what additional opportunities are there? And a big piece of this in terms of reaching that goal is helping students that are already at Southeast Tech succeed and make it to graduation and into their career field. And so the State Tech Board realizes that this is a heavy lift for all of the campuses, and they've asked what additional resources each campus would need in that regard. So we put together the following draft. The first piece of that was, again, this program review and analysis. And so this was done with over 60 programs. And again, the work by the deans and Jackie and Christy Vorthrams and others are helping to pull these numbers together. So gives you 5 years of enrollment for each individual program, and they broke it down, as you can see, new students, returning students. I think what's kind of interesting is the program capacity. So trying to identify which programs do we even have capacity to grow in, and then retention rates, number of graduates, the placement rates. One additional piece is on the right-hand side, you'll see that demographic information as well. And so this is out now on our MyTech site, so faculty and staff can look at this as well. So that provided sort of the foundation for us in making some of these projections. I mentioned the identifying opportunity populations, and of course, there's been some great work that's been done by Marcella Prokop in the Office of Access and Workforce Opportunity, the student mentoring pilot right now, and a student access grant that we also received this fall. Previously, the Avera Academy, Sanford Classrooms to Careers. So we're trying to provide an increased access for first-generation, low-income, and underrepresented students, and also grow the number of part-time, non-traditional students. Again, some really exciting collaborations over the last couple of years with the Department of Labor and the Department of Corrections. We had the upskill program with the Department of Labor previously. Last year, starting with our welding pilot program with the Department of Corrections and Department of Labor, and also just other initiatives. We have one with early childhood now and working with Department of Social Services. So a number of these collaborations and looking for those opportunities to partner with the state and tap into some of those state resources for the benefit of our students. We're also targeting large employers in the region. I've talked before about the collaboration with Amazon. We've reached out to First Premier and some of these other large employers about the opportunity to provide, perhaps on-site at their locations, some of our classes that might help a student that has some credits finish that degree. Suzanne did, I thought, a great job in terms of addressing some of the concern over the ELL population. How do we serve this growing number of students? We have the Hovland Learning Center as well on campus, which is an additional resource, I should say. But the work that ARC and Suzanne is doing, that we're very fortunate to tap into her expertise in this area. And Dr. Valdez has done a great job with reaching out to area high schools and providing dual credit opportunities. We work closely, of course, with Sioux Falls School District, but also Harrisburg, T, Brandon. This past summer, we've been working with Principal Dan Conrad at Jefferson High School. We completed a service road between the institutions, and we really want to take advantage of that. It's Principal Conrad has named that Jeffer Tech, that service road. So I thought that Jefferson and Southeast Tech, so it's a great road we want to take advantage of and more formally connect their students with our programs. And again, some of the new programs that are also part of the solution in terms of reaching that 3,000. Lightcast is a system resource that identifies and really provides some labor market analysis and programs and job outlook and trends over the course of the next 5 years. A big part of this is our solution in terms of, again, reaching that 3,000 number is improving our fall-to-fall retention rate. We have a very, very solid fall-to-fall retention rate. 75% is a very strong rate, especially when you look at, we have 49% of our student population is part-time. So I think that is already a very high retention rate, but again, we want to make certain we're doing all we can to reinforce the efforts of our faculty in the classrooms, and we've hired a new full-time director of student success that she is on board now. We've restructured ARC, and again, Suzanne is our ARC director. And then another piece to this, and you'll remember we use some of our HERF federal money to license a Navigate student success management system, and now we're fully utilizing that system as well. And what that does is provide immediate access to student data right at point in time, so that it is updated each evening, and so it just provides greater access to information, and it allows our student success advisors to connect with faculty and post notes on different students and how we can best serve them. So as far as additional resources, though, that are needed, there are challenges, obviously, in trying to grow the number of graduates. One that we recognize up front is with adding number of students, we're going to also have a corresponding need to add full-time faculty. So each of the programs that academics has worked hard to bring on board to offer as a result of our conversations with business and industry, those have also resulted in full-time faculty positions. And I think that's one of the things that we have all heard. Certainly the deans have championed that it's critical that we have full-time faculty and not rely or try to start a program just simply with adjuncts. Our academic and environmental support, student success and counseling, and you've had updates and reports on a lot of the good work that's happening there. There's also a recognition that as our campus expands, these demands also increase in information IT as an example. Another piece of this that we're working on is to expand our existing facilities. You are aware of the simulation center. We are also exploring expansion to accommodate the trades program growth in electrician, welding, as an example, with a federal earmark with Senator Thune's office. And so we're anxious to see if here in the next few months, if that federal earmark will come through and allow us to have some funding that will provide a foundation for us to expand, again, facilities, much needed facility expansion in those different trade programs. And this is what it all comes down to in terms of our 5-year projection going forward, and our 5-year average over the past 5 years. I think we had 780 graduates is what we averaged yearly for the last 5 years. And so in looking at all those different factors, and you can see some specific items listed underneath the bullets there, you see about on average what we would be required or what our goal would be in order to meet that objective for Southeast Tech of 959 graduates. We will have to grow at about 3% per year in the number of student graduates. So that's a significant in terms of increase in the number of graduates, but with all the good work that you heard this afternoon and much of the work that is ongoing on campus, I absolutely do not think this is out of reach by any means, and we should be growing in terms of, I think a 3% increase is a healthy growth rate. And those students are in such high demand in terms of our area, business and industry, obviously with the workforce needs of the region and the state. So with that, I will conclude, and if you have any questions.
Questions or comments from anybody? No, like you said, reasonable goals and great things planned, and if we can get some additional funding and resources to help make some of these happen, even better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I have to say I had the least fun report of the reports. I appreciate you working with me through that presentation, but it's an important
We also
goal.
know that a lot of work went into that too.
It was done by
Just
all of
wasn't
these
as
folks
fun.
as well, so
Yeah,
anyway.
they
well,
had to
thank
go
you.
do community service after doing this because they just needed an uplifting experience. Probably.
Thank you. We have a December board meeting where this information will be shared again. It was shared in October, and then the State Tech Board will formally vote on whether to accept those recommendations for approval. So, thank you.
Bob, you had great coverage at the annual chamber meeting. in your
Oh,
SIS
gosh,
project.
yes.
It was really nice.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
For those of you that attended, we were very surprised in terms of the presentation. As an example, so Scott Lawrence is the new chamber president, and as he started his comments, he talked about vision for the future and collaboration and partnership. And no better example of this in Sioux Falls than the Simulation Center and all the good work with the 11 partners from the community that have come together, to make that happen. And that's really, again, I have to credit these individuals over there, Dr. Valdez, and a lot of faculty on our campus. This has been a marathon, not a sprint. I was thinking about that, and that's probably the best way to talk about it. It's been a very worthy goal, obviously, and we are so fortunate to have Sanford Health, Avera Health, the Sioux Falls Development Foundation, the city, and so many partners along with the state of South Dakota that have contributed generously to this project. We still have a long way to go, as Kristen mentioned, but it was great to see and receive that recognition for a very, very collaborative community-based project.
That was a great case study. He was trying to drive home the point Scott was and his passion for the South Dakota Symphony and the role of a conductor, and you took that role on just precisely as what he was trying to get across. So good job, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the STC attainment projections report, please?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged. All right, then we have two policies. The first one is a review revise, and that is of GBEA for nepotism. And if you'll see on pages 2 and 3, really just language changes, no real content changes, which is why it's just a review and revise for us today. Can I get a motion and a second to review revise?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That one is passed. And then the second one is we have a first reading for student conduct and discipline. There were more changes made to this one, which is why we kind of went with the first reading, just to give a chance to review that. So obviously some kind of grammatical or language changes, but then some other things in there as well. So this will come back for final approval, a second reading next month. So does anybody have any questions or comments on this one tonight? No? Can I get a motion and a second to approve the first reading of policy JK STC student conduct discipline?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The first reading is accepted, and we'll see that back again next month. People can provide comment if they have any suggestions on that one. Anything else?
No, thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Same.